Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. We've got energy today. Chelsea beat Heidenheim last night in the Conference League 2-0 and we are through to the knockout stages. I don't really think many of us thought that we wouldn't be, did we? I mean, this competition, it's a laughing stock to many, but I am a firm believer that you can only beat and should only beat what is put in front of you. Chelsea have done that 4 matches in a row. We beat Serviette in the qualifiers and we move into the remaining 2 fixtures. And because it's now pretty much nailed on, this was the trickiest game of our Conference League campaign. I'm hoping that we can see a little bit more of your Tyreek Georges, your Josh Achampoms, your Raksakis coming in. Mark Guillou up top last night. He brings the vibes, doesn't he? We get the job done. Check out the 6 Things We Learned video if you haven't already seen it. Today, we've got to talk about it. I know that Enzo Maresca said the less talking about Reece James, the better for him. And I understand that, I do. I'm a YouTuber, I give my thoughts on Chelsea events. Some people like what I say, some people don't like what I say. That's perfectly fine, it's the nature of the beast. That's what I signed up for when I started bloody doing this thing 13 years ago, I'll have you know. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this today in the comments down below. We're also going to discuss the David Ornstein drop about the Liam Delap news with the David Ornstein story from The Athletic. Liam Delap only joined Ipswich in July, but leading clubs already looking at for summer. If form continues, Ipswich Town may lose the 21-year-old amid big interest from the Big Six. CFC, Manchester United, Man City can buy back. This is interesting considering earlier this week we spoke about Liam Delap as an option. Quite often when I see Chelsea linked to strikers, I kind of compare this a little bit to Evan Ferguson. Back in the day when Chelsea were linked with him, Brighton were looking at Chelsea being like, bloody hell, we can get 100 million for this bloke. Thank goodness that didn't happen. The guy's career's gone downhill ever since. We steered clear. Liam Delap, on the other hand, when you look at him, physical profile-wise, the man has got it all. We've seen a plethora of different kinds of finishing ability this season at Ipswich. And to be fair, I think that Liam Delap will absolutely 100% leave Ipswich at the end of this season if they do in fact get relegated, which I'm sure quite a lot of people think they might. I personally think they actually play some good football. I think they've got a good side. I think they've got a decent manager. I think Ipswich will stay in the league. Chelsea being interested in this, at the moment we're hearing rumours that there's a short list of strikers that Chelsea are interested in between about 5 and 10. And I'm guessing that means there's like 10 that we're looking at and 5 of them which are like, we're really looking at this guy. We're going to send scouts to stadiums. We're going to watch all season long. And I imagine your Victor Gyökeres's of the world, your Osimhen's are still inside that category. But to hear from someone like Ornstein that Chelsea are interested in Liam Delap, we're going to be paying close attention to this one over the course of this season and particularly the January transfer window. Now, the main story that I wanted to focus on today, I was talking about this briefly during the live stream last night. Part of me was like, I think I talked about it pretty well. And then I watched it back and you can tell that before that Heidenheim live stream, I had about 3 hours sleep. It was a nightmare. Last night, all of these European games that start at silly o'clock for me, 1:45 a.m. kickoff, absolutely bonkers. But I want to talk about Reece James, and I want to lead with this information again. It comes from a pretty weak source, but Reece James would be a complicated sale as Real Madrid now also have doubts over his fitness, and Barcelona would struggle to sign him from a financial point of view. Reece James is out injured again. It is a hamstring injury, and from what we're led to believe right now, it is a separate incident and a separate injury to the big hamstring injuries that Reece James has suffered before. As a result of this injury, Reece James is not expected to play for Chelsea again in the year 2024, and it's an unknown return date for early 2025, or at this point when the club say we don't know, it means that everybody is pretty much accepting right now that Reece James is, as much as I hate to say this, an injury liability at Chelsea. It's been a problem for many years. When you look at the physical build of Reece James, you look at him and you're like, you've got absolutely everything that a footballer would want, a footballer needs to be performing at the highest level. But unfortunately, football is such a nuanced thing where little muscles get pulled and little things get teared, and what looks to the outside like a big strong guy, there's going to be individual muscle groups that might be weaker than others, particularly when you're a bigger guy. And Reece James, I feel for him massively. And I think the reason that Maresca has come out and said that the less we talk about him, the better, is because Maresca's job is to ensure that Reece's mental health is in the best place it can be. It must be an absolutely horrible time for Reece over the last few years, having to deal with these setbacks. If you guys remember, in the press conference at the preseason game, I asked Reece James a question before the first game about his personal goals for the season. And he came out in that and said,
"No, I have one goal. My goal is to stay on the pitch."
Good man. We like that too.
Cheers, all. Thank you.
And unfortunately, that's not really been the case. We had a few games where he came back, he looked sharp, he looked fit, and then it's a reoccurring injury again. Now, in terms of my thoughts on selling Reece James, I think it's at a point where the injuries have been so consistent and they're hampering his career to such a big level and amount that the amount of money that Chelsea can actually get for Reece would be really low in comparison to the ability that he actually has when he's fit and able to play. As a result of this, I'm absolutely not going to go down the road of saying, sell him, get rid of him. The issue is, though, that he's on 250 grand a week. Since the new owners have come in, we saw a transfer window where we just throw tons of money at players. We learned from that mistake. We realised that's not going to work. We got a new model of wages. But the main thing that we need to discuss is the captaincy. Because in my opinion, as much as I love Reece, and I don't want to sell him, A, because we're not going to get a massive fee for him, and nowhere near the value of what he's worth if he's fit, but B, Reece James for me represents this era of Chelsea Football Club. He represents the Roman Abramovich time that we had to say goodbye to without any kind of say in the matter whatsoever. Of course, we're just fans, but a lot of people during that time were looking at Chelsea thinking, are we even going to be in existence? We won a Champions League. Roman's there. Tuchel's there. Reece James plays a massive part in that win. He's been at Chelsea forever. Since then, we have sold academy player after academy player. We've bought in so many new players. It's been a difficult time to bond with the club. This season, we seem to have hit the nail. We seem to be in a position now as Chelsea fans where we like the manager. We like the players. We see players gelling together. We see combinations appearing on the field. And Reece James, for me, is the glue to all of this. When I think about what we left behind with Roman Abramovich, if Reece James goes, there's really nobody left. Ben Chilwell's going to be leaving in the January window, and if we can't get rid of him then, he's definitely gone in the summer. But considering Chelsea won't be able to pull in a massive fee for Reece, I don't think we should be looking to sell him, because I can see a world where Reece James gets sold, and wherever he goes, if he can stay fit, he's going to kill it. Because we know how good he is if he's fit. Yes, the big question is his career and his body as an athlete, is it able to even not sustain these injuries anymore? I don't know the answer to that question. But the one thing I do want to say about Chelsea Football Club is I wouldn't be in a rush here. I wouldn't be trying to just get Reece out of the door. And as much as I've addressed this before and I've said, well, if he does keep getting injured, then Chelsea will have to think about it. It's definitely something that needs to be thought about, but I think the priority right now should be to actually delegate the captaincy properly. I think if Reece is going to be having these injuries all the time, yes, I think he's missed the Chelsea in this squad right now. He absolutely is. He's been here his whole flipping life. He loves this club. He absolutely lives and breathes blue. But I think there needs to be a new club captain. And I think the only candidates for me for that are Moises Caicedo and Levi Colwill. And to be honest, Enzo Fernandez has been given the captaincy a lot, but right now he's like in and out of the side. He's only just come back into form. But I think Maresca, as much as last night we saw Axel Disasi as the captain, I think the captaincy role in football has kind of lost its spark. The value of being a captain doesn't seem to be there anymore. We had John Terry, a man that was flipping clean in the boots of our players in the late 90s. Captain, forever. during his Chelsea career forever. Unbelievable. And I want to see something like this again. And I think Levi Colwill is the candidate that I would put forward to be the Chelsea captain for now. I think a lot of this pressure that is on Reece James isn't all about the media. I think Reece is strong enough to kind of put this to the back of his mind. Of course, there's going to be questions. The man keeps getting injured. We can't ignore the facts. But I think in order to make things a bit more realistic here, I think there needs to be a contract, if Reece James is going to stay, that needs to be offered, which is significantly lower wages, and then performance, and not just performance, but like how many games is he going to play? There's your bonuses. Reece James is an unbelievable footballer, which is why I don't even want to entertain the idea of selling this guy. We've got Malo Gusto as backup. There seems to have been a breakthrough, supposedly, with JustACoupleGs. So Chelsea are stacked in this position, but Gusto's always out injured as well. JustACoupleGs was frozen out of the team. So I do think there will be some drastic decisions made here at Chelsea, but I wanted to make this video today to indicate what I think needs to happen. I think we need to delegate the captaincy to someone who is going to be fit and playing every week. I would say Caicedo or Colwill. I'd even say maybe Mark Cucurella. You could give it to Cole Palmer, but I think Levi Colwill, as a centre-back, he's growing. This season, he's been excellent. I think he's got this little leadership thing about him, and I think that next step for him could be to have that burden on your shoulders. And for some players, the captaincy is a burden. The captaincy is pressure. For others, it's what elevates them. It's what takes them to the next level. It's a psychological thing as much as anything else. You need to see that on-field leadership, but psychologically, being given the captaincy can take a player up a notch, can take a player up a level. I think Colwill is personally ready for that. Not to say, if Reece James gets fit and stays fit, you can't go stripping Colwill of the captaincy. But I do think now is the time not to be selling Reece, but maybe delegate that captaincy to somebody else. And I think that might also elevate some of the pressure too. Maybe it puts him down for a little while, but I think Reece is strong enough to understand that the bigger picture here is Chelsea can't be having a different captain every week because our main captain's not fit. And if he does stay, which is what I would like to see happen, a contract that is significantly lower wages, but if he does get fit and he does stay playing, there's the potential to earn more. Because I think Reece does deserve it. European champion, phenomenal right back on any day when he is fit. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I wanted to make this video because I want to know what you guys think. I want to know where the GBFC Chelsea fan consensus is at regarding Reece. I can fully see the side of the coin that people are talking about where we're saying it's time to sell him now. I think the problem is the fact that people are so worried, big clubs will be so worried about that record, means that Chelsea might have to sell at such a low price. And then I don't think I could deal with the flipping outcome if he stays fit and kills it at Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man, anywhere. Thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.